let's welcome to the show today Tage and Teresa, hosts of DLweekly podcast. Hi, guys.
Hey, Thompson. We're
Hey,
happy to be
Thompson.
here.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
so excited to have you guys. So, you guys host a podcast. It's actually my favorite podcast, and I was actually just a guest on it a few weeks ago, so I'll link that in the description of the episode. But their podcast is super duper fun. It's kind of what got me into podcasts. So, tell us a little bit about DL Weekly.
Well, I guess I'll start, huh, Teresa? Probably. So I started DO Weekly. Actually, it was originally Disneyland Weekly, and I did it as a YouTube show starting back in like 2012. I worked for a local news station and was trying to mimic some of the stuff I was doing when I worked at the news station. So I was like, well, what can I do that's interesting? Oh, I love Disneyland, and I read about it anyway. So I did a video thing. Video was very difficult, takes a lot of time, as I'm sure you understand because you put this on YouTube. So I just kind of ran out of time to do it and stopped doing it. And then I'd say we're coming up on almost 4 years now. I wanted to do a podcast, and I thought that the format was still really good. So I asked Teresa, because nobody wants to listen to one person talk on a podcast. And I think I made the best decision because I don't think the podcast would be as successful as it is without Teresa. So I asked Teresa. She thought I was nuts. And I didn't honestly think she was going to say yes. But then she did. And so we've been doing it for 4 years, and we have a great community. So maybe Teresa wants to explain her side of the beginnings.
So the beginning for me, so I came in obviously when Tag invited me. I had watched Disneyland Weekly, the YouTube show, a couple of times when Tag was doing that. But he asked me, and I kind of laughed. I was like, I've never even listened to a podcast. I don't know if that's good for me to be a host. I've never even listened to one. So I was hesitant. I was really nervous. And if you ask anybody, I hate knowing that people go back and listen to our first episodes because you can just tell how I can tell, Tag can tell, maybe not the world, but we were definitely nervous and very unsure of what we were doing. But I mean, now after almost 4 years, we found our stride, and we have so much fun. This has grown into something never would I have imagined that this is what would have happened with that adventure, and it just keeps getting better and better every day.
Yeah, and you guys have a supporter Discord chat that I've gotten to be a part of, and it's just so much fun in there. The community is just absolutely amazing. I know we have like a trivia night tonight that I'm excited for, and it's so much fun.
That's right. We have bounding trivia tonight, which
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna do absolutely horrible.
hey, that's okay. It's still fun. It's good. It's good to learn. I'll let you in on a little secret, Thompson. I was a complete newbie and didn't even know what Disney bounding was until Tara, one of our community members, actually was doing when quarantine first started just over a year ago now. She was doing just fun little what can I do with bounding from my closet, and so she did a really nice job and taught the community all about Disney bounding. So this I think will be our second or third bounding trivia
I think it's
night.
the third one.
Yeah, and they've been fun. They've been a lot of fun. So even if you're not confident, Thompson, it'll still be fun.
It's tough, man. We just had like a bounding week with Disneyland reopening, and I wanted to join in and do something with that. And I came up with ideas every week, but never ended up executing well on any of them, so I never posted anything from there. Although we did at the end of the week do a Star Wars one, the whole team together, which turned out really well. But
Yeah, that video is cool.
one thing I want to say about our community is the best thing to come out of the podcast, I think, has been this community that we've fostered and created. And again, we, like Teresa was mentioning, we have some great community members that bring a lot to it. We also have a few people that volunteer. We have Alex, who does our social media for us. He's done a great job. We have Kate and Freya and Liberty, our 3 community managers, and they're doing a great job. So just everybody's kind of come together to make this wonderful place where people who love Disney stuff can come and hang out and share their passions. The one thing that was interesting is actually Kate posted, I think yesterday, like a bingo card of all these Disney things.
Oh, yeah.
And one interesting thing to come out of that is not a single person who has completed that yet has ever gone on a Disney cruise. Mm-hmm. So it's like the one thing almost nobody I know people in the community have gone on them, just nobody who's completed a bingo card yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it's just like the common thing, because all the other ones some people have done at some point, but this is the one thing, so it's kind of interesting.
So we're joking that now we need to have a DL Weekly cruise, like all of the DL Weekly, like the DL Weekly hosts and producers, and then the weekly tiers is what we call our listeners. All of the weekly tiers can come. We can have like a fun Disney cruise together.
That would be so much fun. And I feel like, so even in Disney movies, First Kid, I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's this like live action Disney movie from the 90s. And it's about this kid, it's about the first kid, the president's son. And he's like in a chat room with this guy that turns out to be his old bodyguard that got fired, and now he's tricking him into meeting at this mall, and then he's gonna turn him in and act like he was like the hero, but then we find out that this guy is just like super like kind of crazy. But it's a good movie. But it just gives like a bad reputation for chat rooms, as so many things do. But then when when we were scheduling for me to come on DL Weekly, you guys let me join the chat, and I'm just like, okay, so everything of that's not true stuff. At least I know some chat rooms can be not very safe places for kids of really any ages, some of them. But I just think that your guys' is so well facilitated, and everyone's just super kind, and I've really enjoyed my time in it.
Well, we love to hear that, Thompson. We like to say that we try and keep it the happiest place on the internet, or however you want to say it, like the happiest chat on earth. Yeah, the happiest chat on earth. So, and that's, in part due to everyone's just love and passion for Disneyland. So it's very Disney focused. I mean, again, it's Disney, so how can you not be happy? But we also have, as Tage mentioned, we do have community managers, so that if things are kind of going down a road that maybe we don't want it to go, they redirect and make sure that everybody is safe and comfortable and has a good time when they're in the chat.
Yeah, it's
it's Disney, right? Like, everybody who's in the chat, this is their passion. In fact, we just had a community member. I had a Zoom call with her recently, and she was talking about, she can't talk to people in her normal life about Disney because some of her friends and stuff are judgmental about adults who like Disneyland or whatever, and that this is the one place that she can come and talk about all this and not be, feel judged or self-conscious about it. And I'll tell you, Teresa has had a huge impact on me with this, but so has the community, where when I had the YouTube show, the Disneyland Weekly, I didn't tell anybody in my real life about it. It was just like an internet thing that I didn't want anybody that I knew to know I was doing it. And the same thing when we started the podcast, because I've always been kind of shy or ashamed of the fact that like I liked Disneyland so much. And so finding this community of people who feel the same way, and Teresa and I worked together for a little while since we've been doing the podcast, and she was not shy to tell people we were doing a podcast, so that kind of got me over. People generally have a very good, like, when I tell them I do this, they're like, that's really neat, where I thought before that I was going to be judged for it. So the fact that you can find a group of people who like what you do and have the same interests as you is really nice, because then you don't have to feel bad about liking stuff that you like. And I'm sure, Thompson, at your age, I'm sure at school, people there's probably bullies that pick on everybody for everything. It doesn't matter if it's something cool or not. I mean, even if you do something that's considered popular, like football, I'm sure there's kids that tease people for liking football or liking a certain team over another team. And, it's just, that's how you kind of start those things. And so it's hard as you grow up to kind of get out of that and be comfortable with who you are. But I think the community, and Teresa, you have helped me a lot with that personally. So it's been kind of cool. And then you got my mom, who now wants business cards from us because she tells everybody about our podcast, which is weird because she thinks my obsession with Disneyland is crazy and she thinks I should do something else. But
she's proud
apparently
of you,
she's proud now.
Yep,
yeah,
she must be very proud of you.
Yeah, so I feel like, at school there's always the buzzkills that are like, Mickey Mouse is for babies. Yeah. And I'm just like, well, then I guess I'm a baby, but I'm still on. You're in 5th grade, but Disney is my favorite thing, so I'm just going to embrace it and enjoy what I enjoy. And if someone thinks that it's not cool, then I don't care. I think that it's cool, so whatever they think, if someone wants to say something kind to me, I'll take it as a compliment. But if someone's just trying to be mean, I just try to ignore them. Sometimes it can get to me, but then I just remember, and the chat has been so helpful because I'm able to like share all this stuff, and my mom's like, "You're giving me a break." So
Your mom and my mom apparently needed to talk.
you're giving me, and my mom loves Disney, but she's like, "Oh man, thank God for this chat. You're not talking to me about this 24/7." So it's been a good outlet for that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just love embracing that I love Disney, and I found people that have the same interests as me, and so now not only do I have a good community within the chat, but I have people that I just hang out with, and they won't give me a hard time for liking stuff like that.
That's really cool. Thompson, I think you're very brave for your age, because I don't think a lot of kids would be as fearless as you are and just be who they want to be no matter who says what. So I think that's very amazing and very cool that you are just, like I said, fearless and just brave.
Yeah, I'm just enjoy what you enjoy. Just like really enjoy Disney. People ask me what I want to do. I want to work for Disney. And it's just my thing, and yeah.
I mean, if you can make Disney into a career, that's like the ultimate. So
Yeah.
Well, look at how successful we've been.
Well, I really wish him well with, like, because he wants to be an Imagineer, which is just incredible. I hope, Thompson, when you're like a famous Imagineer, you remember Tage and I, and you come on the podcast.
I will definitely. As long as you guys keep doing the podcast, I'll keep listening.
I don't think it's gonna go away.
So Teresa, Thompson's the one who's going to get us on the media list.
Yes, there we go. That's gonna be.
I don't know how you guys aren't on the media list, because I search up Disneyland I search up Disneyland in Apple Podcasts, and you guys are like the third result.
Very nice.
It takes a while. You can't. I mean, it took us what? Like, was it like a year, Teresa? And we were just kind of chugging along at not that many, and then right before D23, I want to say, of 2019 is when we kind of really hit like a spike. And then it's just been kind of gradual.
Yeah.
You don't get into it because you're going to be famous or make a bunch of money. You get into it because you love doing it. And then if you're good at it and people like you and you have a lot of passion and you bring a unique perspective, you'll be successful.
Yeah, I just feel like you guys have done a great job because you've never missed a week.
And if we do, like, if we don't actually record that week,
you guys will do like a repost.
Yep, we do something, whether it's like an audio tour, I think we've done.
Yeah.
Or we bring back an episode from the vault. Yeah, we try to always have something out there.
It's really important for people who listen to podcasts that you're consistent. So I was just helping producer James started his video game podcast, and I told him, I said, do you want to do a weekly show? Do you want to do every 2 weeks? Because here's the deal. Whatever you pick, you are locked into forever.
Unless you want to make it more.
Yeah, you can make it more, but then you got to be careful, because if you find out that like more is just too much, it's hard to step back down. So he's going to do every other week right now. And I said, that's fine. That's what you got to do. Weekly for us works well because, well, first of all, it's in the name. And second of all,
locked in.
we do a lot of news. So, like, I don't think it would be as interesting for us to talk about 2-week-old news.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, because your guys' podcast definitely focuses a lot on news, and you have discussion as well. But with mine, I'm pretty much doing a lot of interviews. So I chose once every 2 weeks. One, because I'm a kid. I have school. I have other things to do. And it's just easier when you're doing it every other week, because then I have like 2 weeks, get an interview booked, get some questions written. I have a good time to edit stuff, and just gives me like some nice time to just get everything set up. And it's just, podcasting was, for a long time I thought, man, people, how do they do this? And then I learned how to use a computer. and now I spend a lot of my time just making stuff on a computer. But it was just like, wow, I can do this. I can like do what I hear people doing myself, and that was just like kind of a game changer for me. So, and I have a lot to thank for you guys because I really didn't know what a podcast was.
That's okay, Thompson. Like I said, I didn't really know what one was either.
Yeah, I'm just like, I feel like I've heard a couple, but I've never really been into a podcast until I got into your guys's, and your guys is the only one that I've really stuck with. So,
Thank you.
you guys are doing something right.
We just like to have fun, and we record us having fun, basically, is what it
Yeah.
is.
So
if you ever meet us in real life, I would say it's basically the same.
Sure. We tease each other more in real life, probably.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So my next question is, what is your guys' favorite Disney memory?
Oh.
Ooh.
I know, it's a toughie.
Okay, producer James is probably going to hate this because
I think
I actually got engaged at Disneyland, but not to producer James, who I'm now married to. So it was really magical because the person I was with at the time, it was the first day of the 50th anniversary of Disneyland, and they had the Remember Dreams Come True fireworks spectacular, which is my favorite fireworks show of all time. And right after the show finished, the very first performance, we were in the hub, and I got down and I proposed. And I just always remember that because I love that show so much, and it was like the perfect thing. Unfortunately, the relationship didn't work out, but it was amazing. Like, it was such a cool, I was so proud of myself for like planning it that way and everything. And so that is probably one of those things. And I'd say like a close second would be I don't know. I feel like a close second's going to be when we get back to the park after it's been closed. But I think going for D23 was a really memorable thing, too, because we got to meet some people that we had been friends with for a little while beforehand, but it was only online, so it was cool meeting people for the first time, meeting listeners for the first time. It was Teresa and I's first time going to the park together, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, I think that's, I guess, what I got to say. Was that what you were thinking for me, Teresa?
I thought you were gonna say Catspur, when Catspur, the first day that we were in the park.
Oh, yeah, that
Catspur,
was
who
really
your
memorable
exchange
too.
student, and he just like was so happy and so emotional, and then that made you get all emotional.
So Teresa was crazy.
Does not happen.
I'll tell you this, Thompson. So we went for the D23. It was D23, so it was that same kind of thing. So we had exchange students, and one of our exchange students he doesn't have a dad. He just has a mom, and he wanted a dad. And so his exchange experiences, he wanted like an extension of his family. He wanted family, not just a host family. And so James and I kind of became his dad. Well, we were at Disneyland, which is like my happiest place in the entire world, and we watched the fireworks the first night. And he just, right when the fireworks were over, he turned around and he gave me a hug, and he just said thank you, and he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and ran off. And like, I was just so happy, and I turned around, and Teresa was standing there, and she looked at me kind of like, what's going on? And I just started crying, and I was like, I feel like a dad. It was terrible. But Teresa probably has never seen me cry, except for that time, right?
It's probably happened how many times in your life?
Like crying
in
front of people? I could probably count it on one hand, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I was more like in shock, like, what?
Well, and it was funny because we had a couple
was
listeners of the
very sweet,
podcast who were talking to Teresa, and I walked over to them, and I was like, tears were coming down my face, and and Teresa knows that I'm not like a big like physical affection person, but I think, didn't we hug? And I was just like crying on your shoulder. Yeah.
Yes.
So it was definitely abnormal for me, but it was definitely a good memory, and it was a good one. But let's move on to yours, Teresa, since we've gone through me crying in the park.
I don't know I can't pinpoint what my favorite is, which is typical if you know me. Whenever we have to say favorites, I'm like, oh, I like this and this and this and this. But I think a couple things that stick out to me are the first time that Vern and I did the Fantasmic dining package and watching Fantasmic front and center. That was just epic. And now I feel like I can't watch Fantasmic any other way. So doing the Fantasmic dining package is definitely always a high priority for me. But then another thing that's really always super fun is I've got to experience the park a couple of times now with my cousin's younger children. So I went with a few years back. I think it was, I don't even know when, but we went with my cousin's children. They were 4 and 8 at the time. And so just watching how they were experiencing the park and the things that they were getting so excited about was so much fun. And to kind of like get them hyped up for different things, or maybe, you know, make sure that they were feeling brave enough to do things that they weren't very confident that they were going to enjoy, but then they did it and they thought it was a blast. That was a lot of fun. And then this past trip, my most recent trip, the last trip that I took in the parks was Oogie Boogie Bash. So Oogie Boogie Bash, hands down amazing. But
I'm still jealous of that.
I also went again with my family, and there was a couple younger kids. We had, it was so magical watching my cousin's youngest, I believe he was 2, meet Mickey Mouse. He was just like completely starstruck. This little kid was like bouncing around. He couldn't say very many words at that point in his life. He could say Spider-Man and he could say Mickey Mouse.
Oh, that is amazing.
So taking him to see Mickey Mouse, he just froze. As soon as he saw Mickey and Mickey knelt down to give him a hug, he just froze and did not know what to do with himself. He was so excited. So watching things like that was very magical.
So, Tag, do not feel bad for crying about Disney. I watched CNN 10, which is it's like a 10-minute news thing that CNN does, and we watch it at school. And at the end, on every Friday, because they don't do it on weekends, they have an end of the week montage of everything. Well, not Friday as in yesterday, as in we're recording this on a Saturday, but last Friday, a week after Disneyland opened, they talked about that on Monday, not Friday for whatever reason, but they talked about it on Monday of that week. So on Friday, they have the gates reopening to Disneyland for the first time, and then people riding the teacups, and this thing is set to super emotional music. So seeing that, I started crying. In the middle of class, sitting there in social studies, and I start crying because of this montage with Disneyland, and people are like, yeah, Thompson, we know why you're crying. We don't have to ask.
That's okay, though. That means that whoever put that together for CNN did their job, because I assume that they're trying to get that emotion from you.
Yeah, so
that's good.
Yeah, so it's just so many feels. So many feels.
There was a ton of people in our chat that watched stuff on Instagram, and there was a lot of people in our chat saying that they were shedding a lot of tears that week.
Yeah, so when I watched Fresh Bake's cast member preview video, oh man, I started crying. I'm about to start crying now just thinking about it. But it's just you know, the parks are open. It's been so long. There's actually there's this new flavor of churro. And that's like one thing that I thought, wow, there's going to be new stuff. that's not true. On Shop Disney. So,
yeah, you can't get a churro on Shop Disney. That'd be a little...
You cannot get a churro.
Now there's park-specific merch again. We've got the Magic is Back merch that you can only get at Disneyland Park right now.
See, even Disneyland did the return of reopening better than Disney World.